Hello, my name is Ava Barony. I'm Sarah Edwards. We call ourselves the Botanical Alchemists. We work with all sorts of flowers. Today we'll be showing you a fun paper flower activity. We also love to make arrangements with silk flowers and of course fresh flowers. We specialize in creative floral arrangements.
Yeah, so like Sarah said, today we're going to be making paper flowers. This is a really great activity for all ages. If you are under the age of 5, you'll probably need some help from your parents. But it's a great activity to get your hands moving, work with some color, and make something that you get to keep. So let's open up our kit together. You'll be picking up this kit you probably already have from the library, just undo the bow on top. So inside of your kit, you're going to find lots of fun things. The first thing will be 2 floral centers. We pre-made these for you. These are going to be what's in the middle of your flower. You'll have a template for a large flower and a template for a small flower, 2 different sizes. You'll have paper cut for a large flower, the big paper, and paper cut for a small flower, the little paper. You'll also have 1 roll of floral tape. And just a couple extra things you'll need from your house are going to be a nice sharp pair of scissors and a chopstick. If you don't have a chopstick, a pencil will work really good too.
Okay, so I am going to start showing you what to do with this kit. For the large flower, you're going to want to cut out each petal. You're going to want to lay that petal straight on that paper. And don't worry too much if it is not exact, because crepe paper, one of the wonderful things about it is it stretches out, and so it's forgiving for the shape. Okay, so I have already cut out my other petals. So in total, you have 6 petals for each flower. Okay, the next step, once you have your petals cut out, is to scrunch your petal together, and we're going to twist it all the way down. If you want to do that for each one of these, just scrunch it together, give it a good twist. Ava's going to keep on twisting those ones. So once you've twisted up your paper, you're going to take your chopstick or your pencil and grab the petal between your thumb and the chopstick. And we're just going to run it like this a little bit. It's going to kind of curve it. So just give each petal a couple runs with the chopstick. So you can do that step for all of your petals if you like.
I'm going to go ahead and do the smaller petal.
So, a really fun thing about crepe paper is that it is stretchy, and this is Italian crepe paper. There's only one company you can find it from, and we'll make sure you list that in our details if you end up really loving this and you want to order your own supplies. So crepe paper is a really fun thing where it stretches out. So it's pretty tough, but you do want to make sure that if you push too hard, it will rip it. Okay, but it does take quite a bit of pressure to actually get that rip. But so we're going to unroll each of our petals a little bit. So just unwrap it, and you can use your thumbs and fingers to just, especially in the middle, stretch it out a little bit. So we're not really stretching the bottom or the top as much, stretching out that middle, kind of making it like a bowl, and it looks, you can see like a petal. And then if you want, you can take your fingers and just move kind of back and forth a little bit at the edges, especially be gentle here, easier to rip the edges. And that kind of gives you some little, curly cues of the petal. The flower that we're making today is something similar to a peony, but it's kind of just a magical artistic flower. But it looks similar to that. So we'll keep doing that. We just pull, stretch out in the center, kind of like making a little bowl. Eva's gonna stretch out the rest of these petals for me. Once you've got all of your petals ready, we're gonna attach them on. So floral tape is also crepe paper. It's crepe paper that has wax on it. So it's sturdy and it does stretch the same way that crepe paper does. So you do actually want to kind of pre-stretch your sections of tape a little bit. So this has wax on it. So the wax on this paper is going to stick right onto the waxed crepe paper that we've already wrapped. So if you just start wrapping a little bit of ways, you can see it's sticking right on there. And you can get a couple wraps going. Okay. So then what I like to do is I hold this in with one hand, pinched here, and I bring the tape back. And this is where I'm going to take the base of my petal and I'm going to stick it on there. And then I'm going to get that tape pressed over it. And you do want to see a little bit of that petal sticking out underneath. And then I'm going to give that a couple wraps around. So now I've got my first petal added on. So we have 6 petals all together, and this is going to be a 2-layered flower. So the first layer is going to have 3 petals. So you will have to adjust a little bit. Sometimes this crepe paper can be kind of challenging to get in just your right spot. So the second petal is going to overlap that first one just a little bit, and it's going to leave you a space for a third petal. And then you can add on your third petal. Similarly, get it right under the tape, a little bit sticking out, and wrap it a few times. Now, then you can take a minute to kind of open your flower up a little bit. And if you end up wanting to stretch your petal a little bit more, you can. Now, if you're not happy with your placement of your petals, you can take the tape off and just go ahead and take your petal off and start over.
Grab some tape and work on the small flower.
So now, if you rip your floral tape, the great thing about this is that you can just keep going. You just start back over, press it down where you left off, and do a couple layers. So now that we have our first 3 petals, we're gonna go ahead and wrap down around the base of those pink petals that you can see sticking out. And you want to keep this nice and tight. And like I said, you might need to do a gentle stretch to stretch your tape out a little bit. And one thing that's important is that when you add these petals, you do want to stay right here at the top of your center. If you start putting a petal here and then you wrap them down and down, it gets harder. So when you're adding a petal, try to stay in that layer right at the top. So then when you go to add your next layer, you want to stay right there at the top. So once you have the first 3, then it's pretty simple. You're going to want to go in between those two, in each space of the flower. That's where your last petals will go. And this can be a little challenging. I've made many flowers like this, so I might make it look a little easier than it looks, but like that. You can always reshape it, take it off if you like, and start fresh.
Another nice thing to keep in mind is these are imaginary flowers and they don't need to look absolutely perfect. They're gonna, each one will look completely unique.
Yes. Okay, so I'm keeping those taped on high on the base. And then I have all the petals on now, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap a few more times around here to make it nice and strong. And then I'm gonna slowly wrap down the stem a little bit. Cover up all the ends of the petals. And then when you've wrapped it down, you just rip the end off and press the end down here. And that wax will keep it pressed. And then you might need to go in and kind of spread the petal out a little bit at the base, or if you want to do any additional shaping for each petal, and you can kind of like push it down in the center a little bit. And you've got a flower, almost. And then, you know, so the other one is just a little bit smaller. Ava is working on that one. And the more of the petal that you put down, you will like make a little bit smaller of a flower. And you can little finishing touches if you want. You can, some of the edges you can kind of roll over the chopstick, which makes a nice little roll. And so the great thing about these flowers, they're on this wire stem that is bendable. So you could potentially wrap these onto something. I have some paper flowers wrapped onto a lamp safely, not right next to the heat, but it's a metal artistic one, so
How
off to the
long will
side.
these last?
These will last for years and years and years. It's best though to keep these out of the direct sunlight. If you did put these in your window in the direct sunlight, then they will definitely start to fade. So another, this is just a mason jar, but you could also, the dollar store has a lot of really great little vases for $1. And so as an example, I'm gonna take, this mason jar, and I have, what's in here, some lentils.
You could use black beans, you could use chickpeas, you could use really any dried bean or rice.
I really do like black beans. I think they kind of look the nicest. The lentils, I had a bunch of. So the lentils are beans, or you could also, get a little bag of polished rocks from the dollar store too, black rocks. And then that gives you a nice vase to set your flowers into. This is kind of a large vase for just 2 flowers, but they have some nice small ones. Another thing, you could wrap your 2 flowers together onto the
Maybe
same
you could add it to your Halloween costume.
stem. And that could also be like put in a smaller vase, or as I said, this could then get wrapped around something, even like a bed frame. I think there's all kinds of creative ways that places you could find to put paper flowers. It could even be put in some in a hairdo, possibly.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, wrapped, wire wrapped up.
So thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great time making these at home. If you have any questions, you can look at the library's website and contact us there. And we hope you have a great day. Thanks.